Okay.
everything's
Let me
finally
know if you have
working.
issues.
Thank you. Yeah, it's finally working.
I see we're scheduled to 6 with this meeting. Do we anticipate it will go that long?
No.
Okay, I have to leave at 5:20 to pick up my child from daycare, so if
Don't
that's
worry.
all right.
I think we're ready to go now. We're being streamed. Things are good. Great.
Wonderful.
Sorry about the delay again. Thank you.
Well, it's not your fault, actually. Anyway, welcome everybody. Let's call the meeting to order at 4:42. I'd like to begin by acknowledging with respect that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, and that the land on which we're gathered is the traditional territory of Anishinaabe and known as Bawating. Bawating is home to Garden River First Nation, Patchewana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. The first item on our agenda for today is the adoption of the previous meeting's minutes from September 5th, 2024. Do we have a mover for these minutes? Moved by Larry, seconded by anyone who was there.
I'd offered a second, however, I was not there, so
I believe Nyla was there. Maybe.
I would second that.
Thank you.
Nyla. Any discussion on the matter? Any revisions, omissions? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise your hand or do something to indicate your agreement. And those opposed, now raise your hands or indicate some form of opposition. And our meeting and the motion carries. Brenda seems to be having trouble connecting to audio.
I see that.
Is there some reason? There's some way we can look.
it also gave me trouble for the first few times. I had to go through it a few times for it to connect.
Oh, hi. Hi, Brenna. Sorry that we think maybe you can't hear us.
Oh, there we go. You're connected to audio now. Wonderful. Can you give us a thumbs up if you can hear us? Wonderful.
Thank you.
Let's keep going. Declaration of pecuniary interests. Are there any? Certainly none were received before. None are being declared now, so we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda. This was recirculated earlier today, yesterday. It was recirculated recently. And is available as ever on the city website. Is there a mover for today's agenda? Moved by Lee, seconded by Larry. Although are open for discussion if there's any additions to the agenda or revisions. Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise your hand or indicate your agreement otherwise. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Business arising. We have an item on our agenda called graffiti committee. So I will defer to Alicia to describe what that is.
I'm going to take a moment to apologize because I I added the resolution from council that came to circulate this agenda. It doesn't seem to be part of this,
Right.
at least in my hands here. Virginia, I'm so sorry.
Nope, no worries, Lisa. I can give a little bit of background.
for
So
that.
there was a resolution from council that came forward to city staff. And the resolution was, whereas in November of 2013, councillors Myers and Butland presented a motion to create a committee addressing the incidents of nuisance tagging. And whereas the committee evolved into the community committee on graffiti, whereas multiple community organizations contributed, including Art Gallery of Algoma, Downtown Association, Arts Council of Sault Ste. Marie, Nordic Institute, Algoma University, Police Services, PUC, and others. whereas the graffiti reframed project was led and created due to the outcomes of this committee. And whereas Nordic published the graffiti reframed research paper in 2015. And whereas the city and community partners have invested in multiple public art projects, and whereas nuisance tagging is on the rise, most notably defacing public art installations. And whereas further education, outreach, and advocacy needs to happen, now therefore it be resolved that the community committee on graffiti be revitalized and staff develop a terms of reference and committee structure. So staff met with the counselors that had brought forward the most recent resolution. And from there, a report to council was included on the October 1st agenda. From that, a couple of items came out. So one is the reforming the committee, which in this case, as opposed to being a standalone committee, would be a subcommittee of the Cultural Vitality Committee. So that's the first step. So today, Alicia brought forward in the agenda package that information, and I can recirculate that report out as well, and share the link to the portion of the agenda package that the full report is in for your information. But looking for members of the Cultural Vitality Committee that might be interested. So I think we're looking for 2 members to participate in that subcommittee, along with outside agencies that would be brought in to kind of move forward this initiative. Alicia, anything other than?
Nope, that's pretty much everything.
Wonderful. Are there any members that are interested in joining the subcommittee? I see Brenna volunteering. Any others?
Can I ask a question about, just for clarity regarding the scope of this committee?
You most certainly can.
I am just wondering, yes, definitely there are impacts to local arts and culture. I'm just wondering kind of what the scope and the abilities of the committee would be with regards to the tagging and graffiti that happens throughout the community, especially in private businesses. I'm wondering what kind of power, what kind of the goal of this committee. And I guess if the T&Cs are still being developed, that will take some time, but I'm wondering if there's any insights that maybe Ali or Virginia have from the council motion that could be provided.
Ali, are you okay? I'm going to share my screen and I'll bring
Yeah.
up, there was a draft terms of reference that was presented to council as per their request. So I'm just going to bring those up. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Beautiful.
So really, since the committee oversees the cultural plan and public art policy, the thought was that this would best fit in under the Cultural Vitality Committee as a subcommittee. So basically what they're looking for, and again, we don't have all the answers. So I think, you know, some of those concepts, how we move forward, potential grant funding that we need are all things that are going to be flushed out during those discussions. But the main duties would be initially to receive written communications from any interested parties on graffiti, provide information to students. So one of the pieces that was a component of the previous committee was education. So there was an educational component that took place in the high schools and in the schools. So again, looking at how do we engage youth, reach out to the schools and get that information out to those, that sector. Working with the school boards, providing hands-on experiences for public art. As a liaison with city staff in response to any inquiries that come in, working with the community partners on graffiti removal and enforcement. And again, we're going to need to flush out a lot of those ideas on how we move forward. So that's where the committee is going to come in, making some recommendations and working on establishing partnerships in the community. So that's kind of the main overview of the duties. And then these were individuals that were involved in the past. So there's a variety of city staff. So a lot of city staffers, resources from different areas. We have our public works team that's already doing graffiti removal. We have our arts and culture team with Alicia and the summer students that were out doing graffiti removal. So there's a lot of that that's currently happening. And then again, a lot of different community members play different roles at different times. Does that answer your question, Lee, or did you have any?
It does very thoroughly. Thank you.
Thanks very much for sharing this document.
Wonderful. Are there any other volunteers at this time? Don't feel obligated. I'm not gonna hold
I
any.
can't take, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but I can't take on more.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, my intention here isn't to hold anybody's feet to the fire here. We can progress with Brenna's name so far, and then we can wait to hear from other committee members or any volunteers to come forth and strike the committee at that time.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody, already. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And next we have our subcommittee updates.
So I just wanted to give a quick update about the NCC Call for Indigenous Artists. It closed on October 11th. So we'll be convening soon to evaluate those applications and moving that project forward. Item 6.2, Paul Wall Alley Call for Artists is on October 18th, rather it's closing October 18th at 4:30. The city communications team have put together some wonderful promotional pieces. It's been picked up on Zoom today and circulated around. I would like to see some more applications there. So if you're able to share any information that you see about this through social media, please share it through your networks. Moving forward, I hate if you don't mind just like running your
Keep going, yeah.
ACAP applications, as you're aware, they're due October 25th at 4:30 p.m. We've run 3 information sessions that I believe have had 8 individual meetings with potential applicants throughout this process. Next week will be very busy, I'm sure. The following week, right prior will be quiet, and then Thursday, Friday will be very busy, of course, right before the deadline closes. And so things are going well from my perspective there, and I'm really excited. So if you or others have the information that you'd like to submit on apply for ACAP, please do so. Share it around as well wherever you see it. Again, communications has been very helpful in creating this content and making it accessible and brings it out there, and we're excited. That's all.
Wonderful.
Great.
And I guess I'll take the I know I wasn't able to attend the special meeting of the subcommittee that was looking at the ACAP review. But I just wanted to extend my deep appreciation and thanks for everybody who's putting the work into that, because I know it's extensive and you know, can often feel like thankless work, but I just want to express that thanks.
Excellent. If I could just add one more
Yeah,
thing.
sure.
We actually have another subcommittee meeting tomorrow at 12. I believe if anybody else would like to join, the information is up on the website, or sorry, on the corporate calendar, but I can forward that to committee members if you'd like. So just send me a quick note. Otherwise, subcommittee members are aware and have the information. And that's it.
Fantastic. Is there any new business for today?
Not that I'm aware of. Anybody else?
Seeing none, we'll move to correspondence. Is there any correspondence?
Also not that I'm aware of.
All right. Next meeting.
I think that we're looking at November 20th, if I can say, just looking at scheduling for ACAP and review. We have some work to do and some decisions to make, I think, in the meantime as to how we proceed. But I think we're looking at Wednesday the 20th, which is third Wednesday in the month, which follows our typical meeting schedule. So I can send out the application or the information sooner than later and get that on the calendars. But we'll start reviewing that. So you'll see ACAP applications in the first week of November, hopefully.
Fantastic. Hey, Larry, is that a question?
At 4:30 by Zoom?
That's the plan, but you're also welcome to join here in person. If you're joining,
Yeah.
please let me know so I can make the arrangements to have them available.
Or-
All right.
Can you repeat the date, please, for that?
Sure. November 20th.
Well, even though we started late, we might be finishing at record time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Larry. Seconded by Brenna. Oh, is that a question, Lee, or is that a?
Yeah, it was just one question. I remember we discussed very early on, before we started going through the second round of ACAP applications, that the 2024 strategic plan for arts and culture was coming to an end. Do we have anything on the books to start that process, or is that something that we're still waiting on direction from city for?
That is a very good question.
I see Virginia has unmuted her mic.
Yeah, just adding that. So I think Alicia and I have talked, we did review where we were at with a number of the action items this past, was it, I think a few weeks ago. So we'd like to bring an update back to the committee with where we're at with a number of those action items. We're also hoping, we do have that request in for additional funding as part of this year's budget cycle. So looking to see where we land with that and hoping to work through more of those action items. And then next year, I think as it's coming to an end, we'll start to look at what are those next steps and how do we secure funding to have the next phase or the next plan updated. So again, we'll take a look at bringing a report with what's been done to date for the committee to review as well. Does everybody have a current copy of the cultural plan, or would you like it to be sent out or a link sent out to it?
I'm happy to send it out, but for easy access, that's saultmarie.ca/ACAP, ACAP, and it's on that page.
It would be easier for us if you if you shot us a copy rather than us going looking.
Absolutely.
You probably work with it all the time. We don't.
Right.
Luis.
Yeah, I do have a question in regards to the ACAP submissions, the late intake and the early one. Is it still happening in April for the early one?
So technically speaking, we're into early intake right now, and that closes October 25th. Funds are dispersed in typically January of 2025. Late intake, unfortunately, takes place in the early part of the new year. So it'll be in March. Will be the deadline for that one.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, any other comments, questions, new business? Seeing none, we'll go back to our original movers and seconders. We had Larry and Brenna for a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, please raise your hands, and otherwise indicate your vote. Oh, that's a landslide. Okay. Motion carries. Great to see you all. Sorry it was so short, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you all.